Striking tomorrow, Kevin Strickland will be back in court. He has spent 43 years in prison for a triple murder that he swears he did not commit. A judge will decide who will review the new evidence in this old case. KCTV5 investigative reporter Angie Racono has been following the latest legal developments.
Kevin Strickland has spent more than 4 decades in prison. He swears he's innocent. The real gunmen agree, and so does the prosecutor. But it's still a long legal road. Strickland's hearing was postponed after the Missouri Attorney General challenged where the case will be heard. Right now, it's supposed to be Jackson County because that's where he was convicted. But the Attorney General is arguing it should be moved to another county.
The statute 478.
In the meantime, Kevin Strickland has missed his mother's funeral, and his legal team has harsh words for the legal process. They say this is not how the new Missouri law is supposed to work, and what's currently taking place isn't justice. Kevin Strickland's case has gained national attention.
It's a great deal of pain in here.
He was recently featured on CBS this morning.
How old was your daughter when you came in here?
About seven weeks old.
7 weeks old. So you've missed watching her grow up?
Every bit of it.
How old is she now?
She just turned 43. Knowing what I done missed out on in my opportunities in life and, family, and I'm trying to pick my words because I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm hurt. I'm really hurt.
Strickland was largely convicted based on eyewitness testimony from a woman who was shot but survived. She picked Strickland out in a lineup. The new legal petition says police pressured her, and she tried to right that wrong before she died. She sent an email in 2009 to a local Innocence Project asking for help. I am seeking info on how to help someone that was wrongfully accused. We will keep you posted on what a judge rules Friday morning. Angie Racono, KCTV5 News.
Now to a development in a criminal case that we've been following for some time now. Back in June, I went to see Kevin Strickland, a 62-year-old Missouri man who spent more than 4 decades in prison for a 1978 triple murder, a crime he says he did not commit.
I would like to get a sense of what it does to someone to be behind bars for 43 years.
I think I've been destroyed.
The Jackson County Prosecutor's Office, the same office that originally tried Strickland, announced that it now believes Strickland is innocent after a key witness and only victim to survive the attack recanted her story. They even offered this apology back in May.
So to Mr. Strickland, I am profoundly sorry for the harm that has come to you.
But that did not mean that freedom for Strickland, because the Missouri Supreme Court denied a petition to release him and the governor refused to pardon him. We are joined tonight by Tricia Rojo Bushnell, executive director of the Midwest Innocence Project and a lawyer working to exonerate Strickland. Good to talk to you again, Tricia. Last month, the Jackson County prosecutor used a new state law to ask for an evidentiary hearing for Strickland, where they plan to argue for his exoneration. What does this mean for his case?
What we hope this means is that he will have a hearing, the prosecutor will have a hearing where she will present the evidence of his innocence and a court will rule to let him come home. But of course, this is a brand new law. It's the first instance it will have been used. Previously, prosecutors didn't have this ability to overturn a conviction in Missouri. And so there are a lot of questions about how the law is applied and what the roles of everyone, including both the prosecutor and attorney general, are. So it's our hope that we'll have a hearing. It's currently set for October 5th and 6th. But there are a lot of questions and a lot of sort of opportunities for the attorney general, who is still fighting this case to keep Mr. Strickland convicted, to try to sort of push that hearing back.
And if that hearing is to happen in October, I know that you're hopeful and you're optimistic, but what do you feel realistically would be the outcome?
I mean, I think any court, if they actually are presented with the evidence of Mr. Strickland's innocence, would exonerate him. We feel that very confidently. Unfortunately, in the past 42 years, even though all the evidence of his innocence has been available, no court has ever heard it. So, we are optimistic. It's just a matter of getting in front of that judge and letting them see the evidence.
How unusual is it for prosecutors to ask for the release of someone that their own office put behind bars, especially in the state of Missouri?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would say that it's typical, right? Certainly around the country, there are these new formations of what are called conviction integrity units, where prosecutors are now starting to examine old cases in their offices and seeing whether or not they hold, if they are valid convictions. But in Missouri, that's brand new. So like I said, this is the first time that any prosecutor will be filing under this law. Jackson County, which is where Mr. Strickland is convicted, is one of the few counties that is working to have a conviction integrity unit. The others are in St. Louis City and St. Louis County, but no one has yet been exonerated that way in Missouri. And so this is all new ground.
How is Mr. Strickland doing? Is he hopeful that he might finally be released from prison?
I think he's hopeful, but I think he recognizes that he has been fighting this longer than any of us can imagine. I mean, for some context, I wasn't even born when Mr. Strickland was convicted, and that's how long he has been waiting and fighting, mainly on his own. I think what makes him most hopeful is that so many people are now with him, so many people hear him and recognize his voice and his innocence, but he knows that it's been decades of fighting, and while he's hopeful, I don't think he is taking any possible delay or other impediment for granted.
When we spoke to Mr. Strickland and his brother back in June, there was a hope that he might get released in time to see his ailing mother. Since then, she has passed away. What's his reaction been to that news?
I think it was devastating. I think it's hard for any of us to imagine what that would be like. It was over 100 days after the prosecutor had declared Mr. Strickland was innocent, and yet he was still there and was unable to see his mother. I think for some additional context, the court had actually originally set a hearing on this case to be held on September 2nd with a decision on the 3rd. Her funeral was on the 4th. But because the Attorney General stepped in and fought it, that hearing has been delayed till October, and that's why he was unable to attend her funeral. So I think it's just yet more evidence of the inhumanity of a system that shouldn't put so many barriers in front of justice. We know that him not being there wasn't justice, and it's been incredibly hard for him.
Please keep us posted, and we will continue to follow up with a lot of interest. We're watching this case. Tricia Rojo Bushnell, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.